Hey everybody, today we're going to go over the flat bench press. Okay, so we're going to start with the flat bench press today. We're going to do the barbell bench press, and you need a squat rack or a Smith machine in order to do this. So we're going to start loading the weights. If you have a ring on, you can take that off during this time. So when weightlifting, especially using barbells, you may want to adjust your ring or take your rings off because your fist will be coming in contact with the bar. So we're gonna go ahead and load this up. I'm gonna go with 25s as a demonstration weight. And then I'll go ahead and describe the exercise. Also, I will talk about the different muscles the bench press involves. We're gonna add clips. Clips are good, especially if the weights move like these ones will. The metal ones don't move as much, and if you're an advanced lifter, you may not use sleeves because you may be used to it. But beginners, make sure you use these sleeves. You have to really squeeze and push them in as hard as you can. So we got our barbell bench press set up. We want to make sure that it's centered, so it's equidistant from the middle of each side, and that's how we also want to grip our hands. Okay, so we want to make sure that it's first even. Make sure that the bench isn't too far forward or too far back. You don't want to be reaching really overhead to get the bar. You want the bar to be kind of somewhat above your head. Also, you don't want to feel like the bar is in front of you, otherwise you'll end up hitting the clips. So these clips will secure the barbell so obviously it doesn't fall. And if you have a partner or someone to spot you, you want an underhand and an overhand grip spot as you go down and as you go up. Okay, so it's really important that you have a spotter. If you don't have a spotter, you can use a Smith barbell machine or just a regular chest press if you're unfamiliar with this exercise. So this is the barbell bench press. We're gonna set up the bench directly in the middle. We want the back of the bench close to the underneath the barbell. Some of the machines in your gym are gonna come connected. Some of them will come apart. If you have a home gym like this, you may have to adjust the bench on the floor. Also, you can use the Smith machine, which is great because it will direct the weight in an even path. But the problem with that is that you don't get the curvature that you want, which is a J curve. So the setup in the barbell bench press, you want to first start at the front of the bench. You want to make sure that your head is on the bench when we come down. When we go down, if you want to slowly go down one vertebrae at a time, you can. You want to make sure the bar isn't directly behind your head when you go down. A lot of times you'll see people hit the back of their heads on the bar. So you want to make sure you look behind before you go down. And then from here, one vertebrae at a time, we're going to go down to the ground. From here, I'm going to let my knees and feet open up a little bit, externally rotate those hips. And then I'm going to look at the bar, see where I'm going to be kind of lining up my hands. I want to make sure that my hands are about shoulder width apart. So shoulder width apart or a little bit wider. My fingers are going to line up on these rings. My thumb is going to end up touching where the mesh meets the smooth part. So you may be anywhere in between or outside of that. From here, what I'm going to do is wrap my fingers around the bar, and I'm going to push the bar into the palm of my hand. I want to make sure the thumb is wrapped around the bar. And then from here, what I'm going to do is almost curling the hands and then bringing the shoulders down and back as I press off into the air. From this position, what I'm going to do is keep those elbows back and down. I don't want the elbows out like a T or in like an I. I'm out kind of like a chicken. And then from here, I can push my toes into the ground or heels into the ground, squeeze my glutes, take an inhale. And then as I lower, hold that breath and hold that tightness and exhale on the way up or at the top. Some people may hold their breath through a couple reps, or you can exhale on the way up from each rep. You could also exhale through some reps. You want the pathway to hit your sternum and go up and toward the bench in that J curve. And then from here, what we're going to do is talk about the tempo. So we want a 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, and then repeat. Okay. You can perform some partials if you have healthy shoulders, but this may be too hard on the front of your delts to start. And you can also perform an underhand chest press from this position, but you really need a spotter for this exercise. So for the underneath chest press, you really need to have strong wrists to start. And this is more of a tricep exercise and lower chest exercise. Almost feels like you're doing a dip. And press right in front of the sternum or the chest. Slowly lower down. And make sure that you go up and over these pins here. A lot of times if you don't go up and over them, you'll get caught. And if you get caught, the weight can come down, which can cause an accident or injury. So that is the barbell bench press. I'm going to go over and demo that again really quickly. Okay, so here we have the barbell bench press. Set up with your feet about shoulder width apart. Sit slowly, turn, don't hit the bar. Hands about shoulder width apart. Wrap those hands around the bar. Elbows up and then in and down. Retract the scapula or the rotator cuff. Push up. Take an inhale. Brace. Touch the sternum or right below the chest. Exhale on the way up. And it's a 1, 2, 3, up. It may even be a 2, but try not to make it a 1. And don't let it just land on your chest like that. Okay? Control it on the way down and press up. When you go up and over the pins, make sure that you touch the back of the squat bar before resting it down. And then sit back up. All right, so that's the barbell bench press. So now we're going to go over the incline barbell bench press. I just have to adjust the weight. If I am adjusting the weight on my own, you will just lift the weight up and over onto the middle of the bench. It should balance. Or you can just take the weight off. So I'm going to put that clip up to the second highest one, which is probably about 4.5 feet. I'm gonna have to clean this up. Step through. And then I'm gonna adjust my barbell bench. So for the incline barbell bench press, I want the incline at about a 15 or 25 degree angle in between either the first or second latch. Okay, this is probably around 45 degrees, and that's going to target more of the shoulders and less of the upper chest. So we want more of a low incline. Low incline is also great for people who have a hard time getting into the flat bench because of postural issues. So this is more comfortable as well. From here, I'm going to lift up the bottom seat as well. I can do whatever feels comfortable for the individual, and then I'll make sure I am in the right spot. So what I'll do is I'll get in the bench, look up, make sure the bar is in line with your eyebrows, and right now it's not, so I'm going to slide this back. Now I'm going to even the barbell in the middle, so the forehead and that mesh right here in the middle should be lined up. My hands are equidistant from the middle of the bar. My pinky is going to travel on this ring. My pointer finger is going to travel around where you see the mesh meet the smoothness. Anywhere in between that area is fine. Then I will end up bending my knees and kind of pushing into the ground a little bit. I don't have to do that, but sometimes I'll do that. Sometimes my feet will be flat. Sometimes I'll be on my toes. And then what I'll do is I will, again, retract the scapula, create that torque in my shoulder. So I'm going to flare those elbows up and out, and then I'm going to bring it in and down, press the weight away and off. I'm going to lower the barbell to my lower chest or my sternum, push up straight over the forehead or the nose. So I'm exhaling on the way up, holding my breath and bracing on the way down for each press. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just give you one more demo and short explanation. This is the incline barbell bench press. We're going to do a sit up with your feet a little bit wider than shoulder length, hands about shoulder length, and make sure that the bar is even. Okay, from here, I'm going to bring my elbows back and then shoulders down as I straighten my elbows and push up and over the clips. Lower 1, 2, 3, and then straight up, and then repeat. I should be touching my upper chest and trying to keep that bar path in a straight line. Exhaling as I go up, inhaling and bracing as I go down. When we put the barbell up and over the pins, make sure you try not to hit them and then slowly lower them onto the rack. So that's the incline barbell bench press. So now we're going to go into the dumbbell flat press, incline press, and then dumbbell flies. Watch your fingers. So we will be all done with the rack today. We'll get back into the rack when we get into some squat variations. So for now, we're going to add in some dumbbells, and we'll use the same bench. And I've seen a lot of people use dumbbells at stations where they have bench press or incline bench press. Okay, so don't be worried if you're in that same setting as long as you're not hitting the bar. So let's go ahead. We're going to grab some weights. Go more of an angle here. So now we're going to go into we'll go into the flat dumbbell press to start. Out a little bit, make sure we're set up. Set up. All right, so we're going to go over the dumbbell flat bench press or chest press. What you want to do is take the weights from a rack and then sit down and then put the weights back on the rack. That's going to help you from any type of back issues you might get from bending over and picking it up. If you're familiar with bending over and picking it up like that, it's totally fine. Or you can stand up, deadlift the dumbbells, and then get into your position. So we're going to perform the dumbbell chest press. You can pick them up from the rack station or the ground in a deadlift position. I'm going to have my feet a little bit wider than shoulder width. Toes are out or forward. I'm going to slowly lower down one vertebrae at a time. Keep my elbows in. And once I get onto my back, I want to straighten my elbows. I don't want to do this and hold here. I want to get those elbows as straight as possible, as quick as possible, because that's going to be in a vulnerable position if I'm hanging out in that eccentric phase. So the dumbbell bench press, we're going to slowly lower down, press up as soon as we get on the bench. From here, our elbows are going to track not in line with our shoulders or into our ribs. It's going to be somewhere in between. We're going to slowly lower down. The inside bell will touch the outside of the chest, and then we'll press up. We don't need to bang or clash these bells together, especially if they're metal. They can chip off and go in your eye, but we just don't need to press those together. They just need to go into a nice pathway all the way down and then all the way up. Okay, I'm pressing my feet, my glutes, my back, my head and upper back into the bench. Press up, slow lower, and then straight up. When I re-rack, I'm just going to do what I just did. Just kind of a push forward, dumbbells on my thighs, stand up, re-rack, or I can stand up, put them down, or I can just toss them on the ground. So there's different ways you can get rid of your dumbbells from here. So I've seen people just go like this. But if you have back issues, or if you want to try to not have any back issues, or if you're trying to recover from back injury, you don't want to be doing any side bend lifting if you have back issues right now. But some people are fine to just side bend and lift and get back into this position, no problems. Just be aware that everyone's a little bit different. So I'm going to go over that one more time. So we have the dumbbell bench press. What we're going to do is place the dumbbells on our thighs, slowly lower down, tuck our chin into our chest, elbows in, straighten the elbows, palms facing forward, back of the hands facing the back of the room. From here, lower down nice and slowly, and then press up off your chest. The dumbbells should go in line with the mid-chest. Elbows don't want to be too out or too in. We want those elbows to be in between, about 45-degree angle or like an arrow. Slowly lower and then press right up. To get up, I like to bring my knees to my chest and then the bells on top of the thighs, and then rock myself up, stand up, re-rack, or go ahead and set down. Next, we'll go to the incline dumbbell press. So again, the incline dumbbell press, we only need to go up 1 or 2 levels at most. We like a low incline, it's going to target the upper chest. So let's go ahead and get into that. This is the incline dumbbell bench press. So the incline dumbbell bench press is going to target the upper chest, a little bit of the shoulders. What we're going to do is slowly lower back into our incline bench, push those bells into the shoulders, press up as soon as you can. From here, we're going to straighten the wrists, elbows, slowly lower down in this arrow shape, and then press straight up. Nice slow lower, press up, lower, press up. Okay. Now, when you are moving heavier loads and you're targeting, say, 8 to 12 reps, you're going to need a little bit more momentum and a faster tempo. So a beginner is going to want to definitely go at slower pace to start with. And an advanced individual, or maybe your 3rd or 4th set, you can kind of increase that tempo. So let me show you what a normal set might look like. Okay, so that was about a 1, maybe 1.5 second decline, and then a 1/2 second to a second incline there. So just so you know, you can go at different tempos. You can slow the tempo down if you want to make it harder. But if you have a target rep range that you're trying to achieve, tempo may be a little bit faster. Okay. The slower tempo is also going to increase time under tension of the muscle, which will have the effect of breaking that muscle fiber down, which means it will need repair. And if you're in a calorie surplus in an anabolic state, you will build that muscle back up and it will benefit you in the long term. So that's why I want to break tissue down, and time under tension and lower tempos or slower tempos can help with that. Obviously, we want to get a lot of weight and for as many reps as we can, but we also want to think about those heavier loads under a lot of pressure, because that's going to exhibit the same type of results as that time under tension. So both heavier weight, time under tension are going to be strategies to increase hypertrophy. So let's go ahead and get into the flat dumbbell fly. Let's go flatten the bench. All right. So the flat dumbbell fly, this is probably more for people that are interested in hypertrophy or bodybuilding. If you're new to exercising, this might be something you want to do after a couple exercises, and making sure that you're properly warmed up, especially your shoulders, because it has a lot of tension on the front delts and shoulders. So take this example. If I am unable to do 5 or 10 pounds without pain, it's probably not a good exercise. So start with lower weights and then work your way up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the dumbbells, but you can take those dumbbells from a rack. That's the safest route. I'm going to move my hips all the way to the front of the bench. Then from here, what I'm going to do is curl down nice and slowly, elbows in, push those weights out in front of me. Then from here, I'm going to let my palms face each other, keep my wrists straight, flare out my elbows, and then just like I'm giving someone a big bear hug, I'm going to go back in. So I don't need to clash the dumbbells. Elbows are actually going to be a little bit more teed out here than our bench press. And we want the elbows still in line with our hand. So instead of this regular press, I am keeping my elbows a little bit straighter as I press these weights off of me, creating this dumbbell fly, we call. This is going to target the chest, the shoulders, and less of the triceps, where the bench press and dumbbell press are going to be more tricep focused. All right, so I'll give you another example or a demonstration. This is going to be the seated, let me get the camera right. Let's see. Sure, we're good here. Okay, yeah, we're good. So we're at the seated, we're going to perform the dumbbell fly. Go ahead and put the weights on top of your thighs, slowly lower down. Press the weights off of you, palms face each other. Then from here, make a big T. Bend the elbows at the end, and then press the weights together with the elbows straight. So elbows stay straight. At the very end, bend the elbows, and then press together. Just like you're giving someone a big bear hug. You can inhale, brace, and then exhale off. Or honestly, you don't even need to think about your breathing if it's not an issue. So that's the dumbbell fly. Next, we're going to perform the incline dumbbell fly. This is the incline dumbbell fly. What we're going to do is sit on the incline bench press. Feet are about shoulder width apart, toes are slightly out. What we're gonna do is push those dumbbells into the shoulders and straighten the elbows. From here, palms face each other. You're gonna keep those elbows straight and try to get those weights as far apart from each other as you can with those elbows in line with the shoulders. Then you're gonna bend the elbows at the end and then press those weights together. We're gonna keep this T approach and then bend the elbows at the end and then straighten the elbows to the start. So bend and then straighten. And then reset. And I'll go ahead and review that one more time. So this is the incline dumbbell fly. Go ahead and place the dumbbells on your thighs. Push both or one at a time toward the chest and then push above the head. Palms face each other. Fly or make a big T and then bend the elbows. Once you've made that T, and then push those weights together. Just like you're giving someone a big bear hug. You're gonna feel this in the upper shoulders, or in the front shoulders and in the upper chest. Inhale down, exhale up, brace it on the way down, and exhale on the way up. So that is the incline dumbbell fly. Now we're gonna get into some cables. So we're gonna do a little bit of reset here. I'm going to go ahead and get this stuff organized. So that's part one. All right, so let's go ahead and get part two set up. Almost ready. You're gonna be dying for this, aren't you? Stay here. Almost ready. All right. All right, we're gonna go over dips. Okay, dips are a perceived lower chest exercise and more of a tricep exercise than a shoulder or upper chest exercise. So more of a decline press. There's also decline bench press you can perform. You can perform dips in the air with your body weight. You can also perform dips with 2 benches, 2 boxes, or 2 chairs. So what I'm gonna do is put my hands next to my thighs as I sit down. Look at the bench in front of me, put my feet on top of the bench. Then from here, make sure that you have enough room between yourself and the bench to get your hips forward and down. You could also just put your calves on the bench to make it easier for if you're a beginner, and slowly lower down, and then press up. Okay, if you want to make this a little bit harder, then we would bring this bench out a little bit more of a long lever with a leg. But from here, we're going to perform let's go ahead and restart. All right. So we're going to perform the body weight dip using 2 benches. You can also use a bench in a chair or a box. What we're going to do is sit on the bench, hands next to the thighs. I'm going to walk my feet all the way out and then put my heels on top of the bench in front of me or the box. From here, I'm going to lower my hips down to the ground, get as far down as I can without pain, and then press up. Slowly lower down and press up. So you want to hold the air in as you go down and exhale on the way up. We don't want to let those elbows flare out. We want to keep those elbows back and down. You're going to feel a lot of stress on the front of the deltoid as well as the triceps, and you're also going to get a little bit of lower chest in this exercise. So for a quick demo of the dips exercise is a push-up. The dips exercise is a chest, tricep, and we'll start over. The dips exercise is a tricep with a secondary accessory muscle as your chest and your front delts. Let's try that again. The dips exercise, The body weight dip exercise challenges the triceps, chest, and it also challenges front delts. So the body weight dip exercise challenges the front delts, the triceps, and the chest. You're gonna sit down on a bench, hands next to the sides, walk the feet out, straighten the knees, slowly lower down, and then press up. If you're performing for a number of reps, say you want to go for about 10 to 15 reps, you may have to have a little bit faster tempo. So let's just say your goal is to get 3 sets of 10, and your tempo is probably going to be a 1-to-1 ratio or a 1 to half of 1 ratio. So what I mean by that is I would lower down 1 second and then go up as quick as I can and then continue at that pace. What happens if you don't have that pace, one, you're going to run out of energy from your phosphagen stores, which is another long story. But basically, after 10 seconds, you start relying on glucose, which isn't as efficient as phosphagen. So if you are taking too much time with tempo training, you may just be running out of energy. You may not actually be breaking down the muscle fiber. So it's important to also have reps with tempo and without tempo, meaning that you are slowing the tempo down or you're speeding the tempo up. Now we're going to get into the cable exercises, okay? this. So one exercise you can perform using a cable and a bench is a chest fly. Oops, let me fix this. Probably too much weight. So if you have access to a free bench and a cable fly, you can set up a cable fly with a flat bench press. And what we're gonna do is just get in that same position we were in during our dumbbell bench press with our fly position. But this is gonna be more of a straight arm ending. I think I gotta fix something. Let's see. Didn't feel right. Always calibrate and recalibrate your stuff, folks. Let's see here. I didn't film that one part. I'll have to film the dips again. Ugh, sorry. Gotta do the dips. All right. We're going to perform the body weight dips using 2 benches. You can also use a box or a chair for your second bench, but this first bench is really important because we want to make sure that we have enough room. So our hands are going to be down next to our glutes, and then we're going to straighten our knees out in front of us, and then we're going to push our hips forward. And if we feel like we can't get in between the benches, then we need to straighten this out a little bit. So let's see if I can count that. About 4 feet. All right, so we're going to perform the body weight dips. I have 2 benches here about 4 feet apart. You want to make sure there's enough room between you and each bench, or you'll feel a little bit too cramped. From here, I'm going to place my hands next to my thighs, straighten my knees out, and press my heels into the bench. I might have a light bend in the knees, and then from here, my hips should be hovering over the ground, and I should have tense triceps here. From here, I'm going to lower down, 1, 2, and then press up. My first couple reps, I want to make sure that I can do controlled and with a good amount of strength. And then after I've completed about 5 to 10 nice and controlled reps, I might speed up the tempo. Okay, for my second set, I'm going to want to keep the tempo a little bit higher. Okay, don't want to run out of energy. I also want to get my reps up to be a little bit higher. So to sacrifice a little bit of the tempo, I'm going to add in more reps, and you can do vice versa. But you will definitely want to make sure you get about 10 to 12 reps every time you're performing an exercise. If you're going for hypertrophy, you can go lower and higher intensities. Those also help, but we don't want to go over 15 reps or 30 reps unless the tension is really high. Okay, so if we get to 30 reps and it's like really hard, that's good, just as good as doing lower reps and high volume. If you're going to add weight to your body weight dip, if you're going to add weight to your dips, place it on your knees. You may need a partner to place it on your thighs. You don't want it over your thighs and knees directly. You want it mainly on top of the thighs, okay? So I'll show you. Let's do that over. For dips, you can also add load. So what I could do is have a partner put the weight on top of my thighs as my legs are straight, or if you can maneuver that weight onto your thighs and knees, go ahead and do that. Then slowly lower and then press up. You just want to make sure that you don't drop down. You want to control it down and then press up. okay? And so that's going to be a little bit harder if you don't have a partner to put that weight on your thighs for you. So make sure you get a partner for that exercise. All right, we're done. We're done with the dips. I'm done with the dips. 12:26. Okay, almost. Do upper body basics. It's called upper body basics. Upper body basics. We're going to perform the chest fly using a bench and a cable machine. So if you can't get this set up at your gym, there might be a chest fly machine that you can perform as well. So what we're going to do is take one end of the cable, walk behind or in front of the bench, or you can step over it if you want. Then we're going to step to the front of the bench, and then we're going to slowly curl that into the chest. Lower down one vertebrae at a time, press those feet into the ground. And then from here, I'm going to straighten my elbows. Then I'm going to just try to bring my hands together in front of my chin. And then go all the way out, nice big chest stretch. Exhale on the way up. I see the problem. Okay. We're going to perform the chest fly using a cable machine and a flat bench press. So we're going to hold on to one cable, walk behind, over top, or in front of the bench. I'm going to sit at the front of the bench, bicep curl into the chest, slowly lower down. Then from here, I'm going to straighten my elbows. Make sure I feel like I'm in the middle. Might have to move the bench. Next set, from here, I'm going to straighten. I'm going to squeeze those weights together in front of my chest. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You can make it a 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 3. 1, 2, 3, or a 2. To put this back, if you don't have long enough arms, put those back, it's going to be tough. So good luck. All right. So that's the cable fly flat, and go ahead and do incline. We can also do press too, right? So let's go ahead and show you the cable press on a flat bench. Walk to the front of the bench, curl into the chest, slowly lower down, elbows at a 90, press out in front of the chest. Now, it is going to be a little bit different than the bench press because the weight is being pulled out. It wants you to actually fly. So there's a lot of different muscles that have to be used in order to counteract that force. So it's a little bit different than the weight going down, weight's going out. So a little bit more stability in the shoulder there. So we're going to perform the incline bench press with a cable fly. So this is the incline fly using cables and a incline bench press. So I'm going to walk to the front of the bench. Feet are nice and wide, curl into the chest, push up off the chest, make a nice fly, elbows straighten out, press up over the chin or forehead. Exhale on the way up. Back ahead, upper back, glutes, feet are all in contact with the ground for that exercise. So we're going to perform the incline chest press using cables. So maneuver the incline bench in between the cables at a low cable pulley. And then from here, curl into the chest, push up over the ears, slowly lower down for the outside of the chest, and push up toward the sky. Exhale on the way up. Inhale, brace or brace before lowering. And then one at a time, or two at a time. And that's your incline cable fly. All right, what do we got here? We gotta go pull up, lat pull down, seated row, one arm row. Okay. All right, let's do it. Should be fine. All right, so we're going to perform the overhand and underhand pull-up. You can call one a pull-up and one a chin-up. I think they're both pull-ups and chin-ups, in my opinion. So we'll leave it at that. We're going to perform the overhand pull-up. Okay. What we're going to do is hold onto the bar about shoulder width or a little bit wider than shoulder width. From here, I want to pull myself up without swinging my body forward and without trying to jump up in the air. Okay, so I want a dead hang before I pull up. And once I get there, I'm going to hold that position, slowly lower down. And once I get to the bottom, I'm going to pull myself back up. You can do this with an unassisted or assisted means, meaning that unassisted, nothing is going to help me, or assisted, a machine assisted pull up, or you could put bands around, let's just say here, and my feet could be on top of it. And maybe we'll even try to show you that approach. So we're going to perform an unassisted pull up. I'm going to have an overhand grip. So I'm going to hold the bar a little bit wider than shoulder. I'm going to take a dead hang approach, but I don't want to relax my scapula or my shoulder blades. I want to make sure that I have some good tension before holding on. I don't want to feel like my head is going down like a turtle. Okay, so hold on, good grip. You can cross the legs if this is too low and you can't jump up, then you're going to have to bend your knees and cross them, okay? Otherwise, you're going to be touching the ground with your feet the whole time or worrying about touching the ground, okay? So we have our overhand pull-up. What we're going to do is bend our knees, pull up, slowly lower down, then up, slowly lower down, up, slowly lower down, okay? You want to be able to perform 3 to 5 really controlled overhand pull-ups before attempting 5 to 10 at a faster pace. So if you can control 3 to 5 without any pain, you should be all set to be able to perform at a higher tempo or a faster tempo. So that was the overhand pull-up. Now we're going to perform the underhand chin-up. It's going to be more bicep. Anytime you have an underhand grip when you're pulling in a vertical plane here or a sagittal plane, you're going to be definitely getting more bicep involved. Okay, so if you want to target more biceps when you're doing your overhead pulling, then make sure that you include your underhand pull-up, or you call it chin-up. So I'm going to have an underhand grip about shoulder width apart, dead hang approach. Don't sag too much with the shoulders. Make sure I have a good grip and my shoulders feel nice and strong and packed. Okay, I don't want to feel too loose when I'm holding on. I also don't want to be pulling as soon as I get on the bar. Okay, I want to make sure that I'm set. Once I'm set, pull, slowly lower down, pull, slowly lower down. For this approach, I'm going to go with a faster tempo. So I'm going to show you the underhand pull up or chin up, underhand. So we're going to go with the underhand chin up with a fast tempo. Underhand, hands are about shoulder width apart. Hang, get set, and go. Okay, now if you are training muscular endurance, then you're going to want a faster pace. Because if you go too slow, you'll run out of phosphagen energy stores, which only last for 10 to 12 seconds, maybe 15. But if you're hanging onto the bar, holding it, then pulling, hanging on the bar, then pulling, then you start to have negative effects like lactic acid, and you start using your glycogen stores a little bit too much. You start running out of energy doing that kind of thing. So keep those reps efficient with faster pace after you're able to control any type of exercise. So if you can control any type of exercise for 3 to 5 reps at a heavy load, then it's okay to pace or increase the tempo. All right, so now we're going to perform the underhand decline cable press. So I'm going to grab one cable at a time, step in the middle, and about a foot or two in front of the cable machine, look straight ahead. I can have a stagger stance, or feet can be squared up. What I'm going to do next is bring my pinkies together right in front of my hips, and then move the weight straight up. And then same position on the way down. So pinkies to hips, straight up. And then keep the pinkies together. And once they get to the hips height, then you move those out wide. Okay, once you're able to do a couple of these controlled, nice and slow, then you can increase the tempo. Okay, so that's an underhand decline chest fly using the cables. Whew. All right, so lat pull down, seated row, one arm row. So I'm going to show you the 3 variations of rowing with a 1 cable approach. So what we're going to do is start in a half kneeling position right in front of the machine. Then from here, we're going to pull the elbow to our back pocket and then straighten the arm toward the top of the machine. Pull, hold for a second, slowly reach overhead. So this is at about this is 90, about 110 incline here. It's not straight 180 overhead. So if you have shoulder issues, this is definitely shoulder friendly. So this is a 1 arm cable pull down in the half kneeling position. Pull to the back pocket, slowly release. So half kneeling, one arm pull down, underhand grip, pull the elbow to the back pocket, slowly straighten the elbow out toward the machine, pull, and control on the way back. Pull, control. Once you're able to control your 3 to 5 reps for your second and third sets for heavier weights, you're going to want to increase the load and increase some rest in between sets, and be prepared for a heavy amount for 10 to 15 seconds. So once you're over 15 to 30 seconds, you start running out of energy in that specific muscle or area. So that's why you either got to switch arms or keep the pace a little bit faster. So I'm going to go a little bit faster approach. I'm going to go for 8 reps on each side here. I'm actually controlling it more so on the way back and having a faster approach on the way down. I'll switch side. I'll go palm facing down and then palm facing toward my chest. And that allows that shoulder to make its natural spiral movement, okay? And you can do that with dumbbell pressing as well. So that's your half kneeling row, half kneeling pull down. Now we're going to perform a standing cable row. So we're going to get into a staggered stance with moderate weight. So if I'm pulling with my right hand, I have my opposite foot forward, hand at the hip, or I can rotate as I pull. Both options have some benefits. The rotation more for mobility, and the opposite of the other one, the straight pull without any rotation, more for strength and hypertrophy. So this is the standing cable row. I like more than 8 reps, so 8 to 15 reps is great. We can't overload this because we're not totally secure to the ground, so it is a open chain exercise that involves some movement variables. Whew. All right, so let's see what we got. Woo. All right. So this, let's see. This is going to be the low cable pull. So I'm going to be in a standing position, and just like I'm firing up a lawnmower, and 1 foot forward, 1 foot back in a staggered position. And then I'm going to bring my opposite shoulder back and pull and rotate my shoulder forward. Okay, you can also do that without any rotation. This is the one arm low cable pull. Whew. Seated row. Let's see. All right, so we're going to perform the seated row, even though you don't have a machine. So it might be a little awkward, but it'll be okay. All right, so for the seated row, you can obviously, let me come down here. For the seated row, if you don't have a seated row machine, but you have a cable pulley or band, you can set it up like this with a wide T-bar or a straight bar. So what I'm going to do is pull and get into this seated position. I can put my heels on the machine like this, so that I have a little bit of support here, and then I'm going to pull into my upper belly button, and then slowly return the weight back. Okay, so that's a seated wide row. So we're going to go ahead and do that over actually. We're going to perform the seated row. If you don't have a seated row machine, you can kind of put one together with a cable machine. So for the seated row, I'm going to lock up my heels, pressing it into the machine, or I can just push it into the ground. I'm going to straighten out my legs with a slight knee bend. Start over. For the seated row, we're going to set up with a cable machine or a seated row machine with a wide grip with this T-bar. I'm going to lean back just slightly, not too far back. And then from here, I'm going to pull the T-bar into my belly and then slowly return the weight toward the machine. Exhale as you pull, and then slowly return. This is your wide grip seated T-bar row. For your underhand grip seated row, I'm going to place my hands on the bar about shoulder width apart with an underhand grip. Lean back, pull into the belly, slowly return the weight toward the machine, pull toward the belly. And again, if we are working to get 10 to 12 reps, or we have a goal in mind, we may have to increase the tempo. So seated row could also be overhand grip narrow or underhand grip narrow, overhand grip extra wide, overhand grip, or underhand grip. So you can go narrow, neutral, or wide. So here's your wide grip overhand seated row. Sorry, here's your narrow grip seated row. Here's your neutral overhand grip seated row. Here's your overhand grip wide row. Here's your underhand grip neutral row. And then you have your underhand grip narrow row. All great seated row variations that you can do on a machine or just by using a cable. I think that's it for today. All right, everybody. Hope you all had as much fun as I did. We'll have part 2.